Greetings. It's been a while since I've been on here and visited with all of you. I actually had to go on YouTube earlier and look and see when my last video was. And I think it was just on Mabon that I came on and talked to you about getting myself in balance because of all the things that were coming up. Well, those things are now just about behind me, with the exception of my daughter's wedding shower, which is happening this weekend. I'm going to be flying out with two of my other girls to visit her and shower her with all of her friends. We're going to be running a bed and breakfast on Airbnb and having a party, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But the preparations for that have been completed, and we're getting into the home stretch now. We're just in like pretty frantic mode. I've been in the frantic mode trying to locate and find clothing for her dad and me both to wear for the wedding, for the rehearsal, for the trip, those kind of things. At any rate, I've had a really busy time, and I thought I might catch up with you on some of the things I've been doing. And I also wanted to talk to you about the dynamics of group. Now, of course, this means in the world of witchcraft, this means coveting, which I do want to get to, but I want to talk about a few other things first. Kind of find my way there. That's my usual style. So anyway, I wanted to give you a little bit of background on why this has been on my mind. First of all, this last weekend, I had a very, very busy weekend. On Saturday, I did my tarot group readings at an event. It was a fundraiser for two local animal rescue groups here, the Cat Cove Rescue in Long Beach and No Stray Left Behind Dog Rescue. They combine their efforts every year about this time, have a big fundraiser, and I was asked to do tarot readings there. And I think I did 13. My husband kept counting. I think he said 13 readings I did, which was quite a bit. A lot of energies. I had showed you the Cat's Eye Tarot. Remember, I have it right here in the box. Anyway, I don't have the deck. But the Cat's Eye Tarot, I showed some of you before that I bought that particularly for the event. I took that deck and I took my regular Universal Way deck with me, so that people had an option. I was happy to do that because I did have about half and half people choosing one deck or the other, so that was a really good choice. Interestingly, I had a lot, this happens to me all the time, I wonder if it happens to you, but I have had a lot of the same cards coming up in both decks. Like, for instance, the Five of Swords came up over and over and over again in both the Rider-Waite deck and the Universal Tarot deck and the Cat's Eye Tarot. So it wasn't even a matter like you could say, well, maybe you weren't shuffling properly. Well, I was shuffling very well, and it still came up. Still came up. And what else? Another one came up a lot was, trying to think. The 6 or 9 of Pentacles, I think, came up quite a bit. Anyway, quite a bit. Very interesting. Most people, was their first experience with tarot. I didn't get any crazy people. You know, you always have to prepare yourself for some crazy people and some drunk. I had some drunk people. But one man sat there with kind of a blank look. He claimed to be a reader himself, and he just sort of sat there with a blank stare on his face, never really saying much of anything, so I'm not sure what that meant. Anyway, it was a very fun time. But talking about groups, the reason I bring it up too, and it's coming to me about the group situation, I wasn't there 5 minutes when we arrived at the event. It hadn't really started. They were still finishing setting up. And I wasn't there. They were setting up my space. And while I was waiting, I wasn't there 5 minutes until somebody wanted to tell me that this used to be, this cat group used to be a bigger group, but because of the they couldn't get along, people couldn't get along, and they split apart into two groups. And anyway, and then they can continue to tell me how they hated the person that left with her, half of her people, and which I kind of thought was funny. Like, why do I need to know that? I don't know. I didn't really need to know it, but I think that was interesting because there's still, the point being made, the group dynamics was still very, very fresh, even though that happened a while ago. That whole feeling of the group and how it evolves and how it changes is very, very telling in the heart. It really is, and I identify with that. You will also recall that I had just come from a camping event the week before that, a week-long camping event, and like our big major camping event of the year, which was a lot of preparation for that. And we have a big household camp there, household presence, very, very busy. But the dynamics of having that many people together, I'm not sure how many people we were. I want to say like just a little more than a dozen, a little over a dozen people. But the dynamics of having these people together in one space, eating all our meals together, preparing all the meals, sharing all of the jobs. And, there are jobs, of course, like making sure the fire is tended and making sure the water is carried in and out of the camp that we need to use for cooking or for dishes or whatever. Making sure that there's adequate lighting from the candles are taken care of and lit and those kind of things. The trash is taken care of. We have jobs, right? We all share the jobs, and nothing unusual, but there's always people that just think they're so above it all they have to do absolutely nothing. And what effect that has on the group. So we have that, group situations can be really comforting and they can be really difficult. And I was looking back, my husband and I came home, we were looking back at all the different groups we've been involved in. Talking about, groups with work, like as far as work groups, their school work. My daughter, who is getting married, is just finishing up her doctorate in physical therapy. And she is, my chickens are in the front, and I thought one of them was talking to me. She was talking about, not just how happy she will be to end school and get married and all that, but the ending of the group work. Those group projects that teachers are always giving to their kids. If you've ever been a part of those group projects in school, you understand they never work. There's always people that end up having to do all the work and other people who do nothing. And it's the dynamics of that is crazy. So it affects us in all aspects of our life, right? So there's no wonder that I bring it up, because right now in our lives too, outside of our hobbies and our family and things like that, my husband and I are going through a little bit of a transitioning, perhaps, I'm not sure, where we feel we have a need to transition perhaps from solitary practitioners, completely solitary, doing everything on our own, to maybe looking to getting hooked up with a group somehow. We're not sure. It's still in the very new, the idea is there, we're exploring. So what we did this weekend, we went on Sunday, was the Pagan Pride, Orange County, Los Angeles Pagan Pride celebration in Long Beach, and we went there. And beforehand, we had looked up on a meetup on over on the internet. We looked on for meetup for an Orange County group that meets like every month for whatever. We've looked at them before. We never have met with any of them. We sort of back out at the last minute thinking, I don't know. I really don't know. The idea of meeting people on the internet and then meeting them at a restaurant, whatever, are we going to have anything in common with these people really? What kind of people are they that this is how they, you know what I mean? This is how they get together. This is how they meet. And so anyway, we thought some of them would be at this meetup, and some of them said, there were like 13 of them that said they would be attending the meetup in Long Beach. So we went off to Long Beach. Didn't find one of them. Did not find one of them. But while we were there, we found some other people. We found some other groups. Lots of other groups kind of soliciting for, soliciting for I don't know if they're looking for members or what, but just trying to sell their group. A lot of really interesting groups. Local group. There was a Druid group. There was a Long Beach course group, and a couple of Los Angeles other base groups. There were some covens. There was one group associated with a shop in Santa Ana, which is not far from me. We know that shop, and we know they had done some things there. And then we ran into somebody at another in a little booth who we have known her. We met her. Remember a while ago I told you how we were participating in rituals, in some local public rituals, with a woman who we met, who we knew from another shop she had a shop in San Juan Capistrano that we went to, and knew her from there, and she invited us. Somehow we got invited to her group, and she had a public ritual there. She rented space in a local goddess temple here in Orange County, and it was lovely. We had public ritual there for, I don't know how many years we went, 3 or 4 years probably. We participated with these people, and we pretty much went every month. We missed a couple, but as the years progressed, she started doing less and less and less, because first of all the rent got high and pulling back, but also she was pulling people. The object of I believe of the rituals were, she was teaching classes, and these were her students, so she was trying to it was public, the ritual. You didn't have to be one of her students to participate. It was Wiccan. You didn't have to be Wiccan. There were a lot of people there that were not. We were not. And she was, anyway, it was like her first year students and bringing in new students, and then eventually your second year, third year, whatever students, we would have the initiation. We would take part in their initiation and everything, even though we weren't a part of her group. But then they finally just stopped having these rituals. She just said she couldn't, it was too expensive, and she went off. And we were thinking at the time that maybe some of those people we would still keep in touch with afterwards. Well, we just didn't. We just didn't. They sort of disappeared, even though we kept touch with them on the internet, on Facebook or whatever. It seemed like they still were doing things together. So it seems to me that they were still doing things like it perhaps as a coven, and as not being members of that coven, we were not included. I don't know. At any point, and she has since left California, gone back to her hometown, back east. They're talking about getting that group back together, but there's talk about coven. This word coven comes up. Coven. Now, I've nothing against covens. I know a lot of people have covens. It's just not anything that's ever been in our world. We've never been a part of it. We have seen other covens. We've seen a lot of covens over the years go bad. Again, I'm not speaking of all covens. I'm just saying that in my experiences, the people that I have known who participated in covens have had bad experiences in the end. They were all good for the beginnings, and then something happened. There's that struggle or whatever happens. Personality conflicts, I don't know. Even some of our most famous, popular people here on YouTube, if you look back at some of the early years, very much involved with the coven, very much not. At some point, just absolutely quiet on the subject, no talking, because it didn't work out. Something didn't work out. Okay. So, those of us who do not have a coven, excuse me, let me have a drink of my tea. I have to show you that I'm having tea today, no wine, because it's still pretty early. But anyway, I just want to show you, I don't just drink wine, I do drink other things. Anyway, talking about the groups and the covens. What I want to say about it is, I think a lot of us who do not belong to a coven sometimes use social media to take the place of a coven. I think some of us think we're solitary practitioners, but we can get our sense of community, because we all really need have a feeling that we belong somewhere. So we can get our sense of community here on YouTube, perhaps on Facebook, through different groups that we belong to there, friendships that we form, whatever becomes our kind of family, kind of our group, right? That's very common. And then what happens when those people leave? What happens when the people who had channels here on YouTube, all of us got to really love these people, got to know them, they stopped having their channels? What happened to people that we started to follow on Facebook, and all of a sudden they take the summer off or whatever and don't even talk to us for months and months at a time? It's like we feel like we've been abandoned. It's like we feel like we've been left out of something. There's also some dynamics here on YouTube, and I'm not trying to stir up anything. Trust me, I'm not. I'm trying to speak from my heart and the way that I feel, because I think some people also maybe share these feelings. That there's a lot of people here on YouTube, individually, we've been watching them for years and years and years alone, and we've been feeling that we've been a part of their community, so to speak, who now are very much invested in little cliques, little groups of, they get together all the time and visit because they don't live far apart from each other, so they can get together, they travel together, they do fun things together, they have meetups, so to speak. Those of us who don't live close enough to do that, all of a sudden are not part of that little group. We have some people that I've been following also on Facebook, on YouTube, that were giving all of their videos to the people in the channel, and then all of a sudden, I'm not sure what the term is, the subscription service they've been getting involved in, that now if you want more of their videos, you need to subscribe to them. This is not just with the Wiccan, the pagan community. I have a lot of other friends who are doing that too, who are becoming public figures in whatever for whatever reason. Some of them are musicians and other kind of public figures who are doing the same kind of thing. So it's not unique just to the pagan community. But what happens then when we have to? It's like a pay to play. I have a friend here, very local to me, that really to do anything that you want to share, you have to really pay for. You don't get it free. You don't get like just a friendship. There's not a friendship. It's like, okay, you want to be my friend? It'll cost you, kind of a thing. So when you get these kind of experiences, I think what is happening with us is we are starting to say, is there a group of people like us? Are there more people like us who just want to get together, share ritual together, maybe do drum circles, maybe just get together, for whatever reason. For whatever reason, just hang out a little bit. So we're on the fence. We're on the fence about the group dynamic. Should we get involved? Now, I got a lot of information from some of these people at the Pagan Pride. Yes, here's my phone number. We meet at this every Thursday at whatever place, and we get together. We also do other things. We do rituals. We do all kinds of things. We're teaching coven. You don't have to be Wiccan. You don't have to identify as Wiccan. It's good for men and women. All these wonderful buzzwords that sound wonderful, but when it comes down to it, it's a coven, and that is a big step for us. People at our age, is this really what we're looking for? I don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. But I bring it up because I think every one of us has these same kind of feelings where we just want to belong with somebody. Now, I'm not solitary in the fact that I am completely solitary. My husband and I are both practitioners. We do ritual together. We celebrate together. Everything is together, which we do, which is very nice. But it's nice to have a community other than just the two of you. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. I will let you know. I would love it if you have experiences, those of you who have experiences, similar experiences, or who have been solitary and then maybe took the leap and sought out a coven, what that was like for you. I would really appreciate it. I'm sitting here eyeing my candy corn. Do you see I have a dish of candy corn? which I want to say is one of the greatest harvests of this season. People are usually candy corn haters, and I understand the candy corn haters, but I think it depends on your childhood, really. And my childhood was definitely candy corn was something that was, my family had a candy dish. My father had a candy dish that stayed on the TV like all the time. That was the typical in the house, like a crystal candy dish. And in the candy dish were those little, we called them pinks. I don't know what you call them. They were pinks. They were little pink candies. So what do they taste like? Is that a wintergreen? What does that taste like? The little, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. The little pink candies. We had them on the TV like 12 months of the year. But, well, not 12 months of the year, about 10 months of the year. But at Halloween, candy corn. It was a change up at candy corn. And then, of course, at Christmas time, there'd be fudge in there. That would be really good. But the fudge would last like 5 minutes. My dad would eat it, and you allowed one piece of fudge. Yeah, you can have one piece of fudge. We'd have one piece of fudge. Then my dad would go in with the hands, eat the rest. Fudge would be gone, so the pinks came back. I like the pinks, but I really appreciated the change in this. And I have to say, I've been just nibbling. This was a full dish. I've been nibbling, thinking, I gotta take the pieces out that are not perfect. Here's one that's not perfect, because there's no white at the top. I have to eat it. And if I'm just doing that, looking for the imperfect ones, no white. I thought, well, then I won't eat too many. But you know what? There seems to be more imperfect ones than perfect. So maybe not the best idea. Okay. I want to share, when I did go to the Bacon Pride, I did just a little bit of shopping. I want to share with you what I bought. Absolutely not a haul. I didn't spend a lot of money, because I'm spending a lot of money on the wedding and the shower, those things. I bought something that I absolutely can't believe I don't have, but I just don't. I didn't have a pentacle to wear. I have a pentacle, but I wanted something small, and this is even a little bigger than I wanted. I don't know if you can see that. How tall is that? I don't know if that's an inch. It might be 3/4 of an inch. Anyway, it's just sterling silver, and I like it. My husband really liked it because it's woven. It looks like it's woven. The arms of the pentagram are weaving in and out rather than all being the same. But it's kind of cool. So it's sort of Celtic, like Celtic knotwork. It looks like Celtic knotwork, which is kind of cool. But anyway, I just didn't have a small pentacle to wear. I don't know why. I just realized that. So anyway, I got one. Got one of those. And my first ever, if you will believe, first ever pendulum that I bought. Kind of cool, huh? Now, I have used pendulum. That's kind of funny because I've used pendulum. Made ones. We've made pendulums and used them ever since I was a girl. That's a game that we used to play all the time as a girl. We used to use a pencil on a string or something like that, and we would use it on our wrists to see, how many children we were going to have or whatever kinds of games we would do like that. Or we would hold it over our hearts, lay down and hold it over the heart, and we'd have to answer questions, and the pendulum would tell us whether we were telling the truth or not. So we did this as children. This was a children's game, which is very much not a game anymore. I mean, it's not a game. I now see that it's not a game. But anyway, I've never had like a real pendulum. I realize you don't have to have, but I mean, this is like a little crystal point. It's really cute. It just spoke to me. And I had a lot of bracelets on that day. And I picked it up and I just held it over my hand, and oh my goodness, it quivered like anything. But as soon as I started speaking, it just started reacting right away. It's very active. Anyway, I'm going to use it responsibly. And if any of you have a pendulum, I would like to hear about it. But I will say, there is a woman here on YouTube who I've watched some of her videos. There's a lot of videos on using pendulums that are really good. But her name is Amy Scott Grant, and she's got a channel here. And she's really very clear about how you ask your questions, how you word questions and stuff, how you ask multiple choice questions using your fingers. Anyway, a lot of information. So I'm spending some time before I really start using this. I'm going to spend a lot of time watching her videos, whatever she has to say, and some others. And so if you have a good recommendation for me, maybe it's your own video talking about pendulums, just leave a link please down below in the comment section, because I'd love to learn everything I can. That's the way I learn things. I just as many different people as they can talk to, because I do have my own opinions. Like I said, I've been using pendulums sort of since I was a young girl, but not like this. I really want to get into it a little more seriously, because I think it's a really valuable tool. A pendulum is a very valuable tool to have. So I was happy to get that. And the only other thing that I bought was a CD, a musical CD, which I have not even heard the CD yet, haven't opened it. But it was a local group that was singing. And it's called Songs of Enchantment, Charms and Chants of Orion Foxwood. And it was really fun. They were performing on the stage there at Pride. And we heard them do a couple of these songs, which were terrifically fun. And so I can't wait to hear that. So if I can get some good, once I hear it, I maybe can give you some more, a little more feedback on the songs. I'd like to give you a little review on the music. But I love to give publicity to local people when I can. And they were really a very fun, entertaining group. Not that you'll probably ever see them, but maybe they saw their CDs online. We'll look it up and see. Okay? So anyway, that's about it for today. I just wanted to say hello and how you doing. Catch up on you. And like I said, if you have any feedback for me, either on pendulums, but more importantly on coveting, on your own thoughts about coveting or not, I'd love to hear them. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, coming to my channel. I've missed you, even though I don't see you. I've missed the feedback. You know, when I don't come on and do a video, I don't get any feedback, and I really miss that. So hopefully it won't be so long the next time. So anyway, as always, thank you for coming. I'm Rebecca, the Good Wife, and I wish you blessings.